14th of August, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, with Rashi, Eikev.
What did you say?
I'm giving a share now.
Okay, so.
I didn't say anything to you.
Can't see you. I don't think they can see you.
Okay. Okay, let's go.
V'haya Eikev me'un es hamishpatim ha'ela ushmartem ba'asem osam v'shamar Hashem Elokecha licha es habris v'es hachesed asher nishba la'avosecha. And it will be because you have listened. Because
How did you translate Eikev?
because
Okay. We'll see Rashi. We'll see if Rashi has a different way of explaining it.
okay.
Okay.
Because of your listening to these ordinances and you are listening, you are hearing
Ushmartem.
and you are guarding and the asisim, and you are doing them. Then Hashem, your God, will guard you. For the covenant. And
God for you. Hashem Hakadosh Baruch Hu will keep for you. Let's rather put it. Keep Shama, he will guard for you.
the covenant and the kindness that he swore to your forefathers.
Okay.
V'haya Eikev tishma'un. And it will be because of your listening. Im ha-mitzvos ha-kalos. If the light commandments, she'adam dash ba'akei vav, that a person tramples with his heels, tish ma'un, you will listen to.
Right.
Okay, so he's translating it as the heel.
Right.
And it will be you from listening to the heel, I guess.
So,
V'shamar Hashem Elokecha lecha es habris v'gomer. Hashem, your God, will guard for you the covenant, etc.
okay, so Rashi says over here, what does Rashi say? Yishmor lecha.
Yishmor lecha ha-havitacha so. He will guard for you his promise to you.
In the better, well, more colloquial English, you'd say he would keep his promise. So Rashi learns the word v'shama means in the sense of keeping.
Right?
That's what it means. Shama Hashem l'chas bris v'sach. He'll keep for you his promise. That's the bris v'sach chesed. Hashem yishpa alav v'sech.
Right.
The covenant is what he made with you. That if you listen to the mitzvahs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you the land and everything will be well. Okay, that's number one. And the Chesed. Now, Rashi, at the end of, if I remember right, at the end of last week's Parsha, Shemei HaBris VaHaChesed. Yeah. Just 1 second. I'm going to. Shema Hashem Agayim.
It's this afternoon, going later probably around 6:50 every year with the family.
Second.
Very beautiful park on the way in the
Okay. Okay. But the point is now, so that's how I translated the beginning part of the Pasuk, that if you will, just 1 second, it will be, if you heed the seemingly insignificant parts of these laws and safeguard them and carry them out, okay? I mean, so Eikev is, rather than being a preposition, Eikev is to be understood as a noun. Or your Eikev, if you will listen to Eikev, is some of these mishpatim. But the Eikev of these mishpatim, if you will listen to them and you guard and keep the safeguard and keep them and do them, carry them out, then Hashem will keep for you the covenant. So that's how Rashi says, according to the way Rashi explains it, Eikev is to be understood as a noun. If you keep the Eikev of the mitzvahs, of the mishpatim, then Hashem will. So that's what Rashi says, even the insignificant parts. Mitzvahs hakalisha odom doshba kevav tishmu. That's how the Mefarshim explain it over here. Okay? So rather than translating it because, it's interesting, you don't find Eikev very often appearing in the Torah. Just so curious to know how many times it actually appears. Just 1 second. Let me do a little bit of a search over here. So as in Akademi is about 2 or 3 places. One comes to mind is Eikev Asher Shoma Avraham B'Koli. And that means because. Because Avraham listened to my thing, but I'm just trying to think Eikev, where else it appears. Yeah. Once in, it says twice actually in Bereshis, One time it says, "V'sporchu b'zarcha kol ge'oretz, Eikev asher shomatu b'kei." It also says that a kolev after the sin of the meraglim of the spies. It says, "V'avdi kolev Eikev hoysa ruach hatzimoi." Right. See, the Mepharshim dwell over here. The word v'hoya is like is misleading us, shall we say? If it would say this is conditional, Eikev means if, means on condition you keep, you listen. So the word v'hoya wouldn't need to be. It just would say Eikev tishmu nesamishpatim oile ushmartem v'asisem oisam. What's v'hoya doing there? V'hoya is unnecessary. That's number one. And generally, the terminology Eikev is only used after the fact. Means, for instance, Avram Avinu, it says, Eikev, asher shoma Avram Akili. Because Avram listened to my voice, right? Therefore, he's going to get a blessing. Similarly, before that as well, by Kosh Baruch Hu promised Avram Avinu, because you listened to my voice. Eikev means it's like it's something which is a reason for something that has already happened. That's the thing by Kolev, after Kolev, Eikev hoysa ruach hacheres imai. Right. Actually, the next one, Dvarim Ches, is also in this Parsha, slightly different, because that's going on in the future. But here, the word V'hoya Eikev, the word V'hoya is totally superfluous, if it means the regular meaning. So therefore, that's why Rashi, based on Chazal, said that Eikev here means is a noun. Doesn't mean because, but Eikev means if you listen to Eikev, means the insignificant, the trampled on parts of the mitzvahs of the mishpatim ha'ileh, shmatim asisim oisam. Okay? Then we can go on to the next pasuk.
Yud Gimel. Va'a hevcha u ve'rachcha v'hir becha u ve'rach pri bit necha u free ad masecha gigancha v'ti roshcha v'yitzharecha shegar ala fecha v'as te ros tzonecha al ha'adama asher nishba la'avosecha lases lecha. Okay, so it means he will love you, and he will bless you, and he will multiply you, and he will bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your land, your grain, your wine, and your oil, the offspring of your cattle, and the herds of your flock, on the land that he swore to your forefathers to give to you. Okay. Well, these are all the good things that's going to happen because you
To the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you keep
do
his
the
mitzvah.
Eikev. Okay. Shigar alafecha. Vilade Bikarcha. The offspring of your cattle. Shehan Keva Mishageres Me'eha, which the female sends forth from its insides.
How would you spell expels, or how do I translate it? Yeah, expels from her innards.
Expels.
Okay.
Va'ash tiros tzonecha, the herds of your flock. Menachem pei Rash. Menachem explained, Abirei Vashan, the strong ones of Bashan.
Right.
Mivchar Hatzon,
Means the best part, the choicest part of the flock.
the choicest of the flock. Kamo Ashteros Karnaim. This is like the word Ashtarosh.
Yeah, Karnaim.
Karnaim. It's like the word Ashtarosh in the phrase Ashtarosh Karnaim.
Right.
Lashon Chozek. It is an expression of strength.
Right.
Ve'unkelis targame, and Unkelis translates it. Ve'ed rei anach, the herds of your flock. Rabosenu amru, and our rabbis said, Lama nikra shemam ashtaros. Why is it called by the name Ashtarosh?
Ashtaros. Right?
Ashtaros. Sheme Ashros es Baalehen. Because they enrich their owners.
Right. They cause their owners to become rich.
Okay, so that's it as in Asher, wealth.
Asher, right. With
Ashtarosh.
So Ashtaros is like a reflex form, flexive form.
Uh-huh.
So Ashtaros is they make rich.
Uh-huh.
So
And what is the reference to Ashtarosh Karnaim?
So this is learning a slightly different chat. Okay, but the Ashtaros Karnaim means the Lashon Ashtaros means Lashon Chayz. It means a very strong, rocky, hard ground. That's referring to that there was like a place, as I don't know if you ever learned the first parak of Sukkah, the beginning of the first page of Sukkah. Gemara brings this Ashtaros Karnaim. Somebody builds a Sukkah in Ashtaros Karnaim, where they're very, it's like a very deep ravine with high, rocky precipices on the side. Okay, so therefore, if a person builds a sukkah inside at the bottom, so he doesn't really need the sukkah for shade because the rocky precipices at the side of the canyon create the shade for him. So the Gemara wants to suggest that in such a situation, you cannot build a sukkah there because the schach is not giving you shade. It's the cliffs that are giving you shade. That's another discussion in the Gemara. Akopanim, you see that Ashtaros Karnaim is a place where a very rocky ravine, rocky canyon. Okay. So that's what Rashi says. Lashon chayzer means made of very hard, rocky ground. Okay. Very good. One to point out. Okay, so what Rashi doesn't mention actually, it's interesting, but Rashi makes this assumption that says shka alofecha. Alofecha, Rashi says, but points out that means your bakar, your cattle. Why is it called alofecha? Rashi just says bakre soroch, right? The first, the cattle of your oxen. But we had as well. Where else do we have this? That also is connected to the word that alofecha means your thousands, because you're going to be merit to have huge herds of cattle. There are going to be thousands of them. Anyway, okay.
All right, 14.
Yeah, pasuk 14.
Baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim lo yeh v'cha a'akar va'akara uviv hem techa. So it means you will be blessed in all or from all the people, more than all the
Be
people,
more blessed than all the other nations.
and there will not be with you. Oh, excuse me a second. I got somebody knocking on the door.
Okay.
Coming. Thank you for waiting. Sorry about that. I have a very important prescription that I've been trying to get for a number of days, and it finally came. Okay, so where were we? Oh, we were doing 14. There'll be no infertile male or infertile female among you or among your animals.
That's what Rashi says. Akar, Rashi just says. What does that mean?
Akar she'eno molid, that cannot give birth.
Right.
Or I guess give birth or cause to give birth.
Correct.
Because it refers to a male also. That's interesting. Molid.
It means
To fertilize?
be able to sire. An akar is a male who cannot sire children.
Uh-huh.
And male is she cannot give birth.
Right. Right. Okay. Biker?
Yeah.
Okay. V'heisir Hashem mimecha kol choli v'chol madvei mitzrayim ha'ra'im asher yadata lo yisimam bach unesanam v'chol son echa. Okay, so Hashem will remove from you all illnesses, holy illnesses,
Right.
and all maladies.
Actually, it's interesting. Rather than saying all sicknesses, every sickness. See, holy is a single thing. It doesn't see kol, how should you call it, in the plural form. He's in singular. It means Hashem will remove you every illness.
Every illness and every malady.
No, and here that's interesting. Madve is in the plural. And all the sicknesses, I actually translate, all the terrible diseases.
Yeah, that's what my English says. My English says every illness and all the bad maladies.
Because one is connected to a singular and one is connected to a plural.
Right.
Daily is a singular. Therefore, kol
Right.
means every illness.
Right. From Egypt, that you knew, he will not put them on you, but he will put them on all of your haters,
All your enemies, all
the people who hate you.
right. Please.
So why is he putting them on all the people who hate you? He says, this is, you're listening to the commandments.
Right. And this is how he will punish them. They'll be inflicted with COVID.
So he won't punish them if you don't do the commandments?
No, he's going to punish your enemies.
But why is it saying it here? This is the list of things that Hashem does because we are listening to his
Hashem is going to remove
details of his mitzvahs and doing them.
Right. So
What does that have to do with punishing our enemies?
Because if we are listening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and doing what he tells us, then anybody who has the chutzpah and the presumptuousness to show hatred towards us is going to be punished.
And if we don't, then those people don't get punished.
Then we're going to get the illness, sicknesses, and they won't.
And they'll be good.
If we will not be good, chas v'shalom, we won't listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then rather than our enemies getting the sicknesses, we will get the sicknesses, chas v'shalom. Okay? No Rashi on this.
Okay, let's see. V'achalta es kol ha'amim asher Hashem Elokecha nosein lach lo sachos einecha aleihem v'lo sa'avod es Elokehem ki mokesh hu lach. Okay, and you will devour all the people that Hashem, your God, delivers to you, and you shall not have pity. Your eye shall not pity them, and you shall not worship their gods, because it is a snare for you. Okay, let's see. Do we have anything on 16? No, we don't. Okay. What does it mean you'll devour the people?
Means to wipe them out.
Okay.
Why using this terminology, I do not know. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why this is.
Okay. It's a weird image.
Well, it says, "Lo sochos en chalem," don't have pity upon them.
Right. But you are what you eat. It's the idea of devouring them doesn't seem really what we want to do. We don't want to be involved with them. We want to push them away, not well, I don't know what it means when it says devour. It's a weird word. What's the Hebrew? It's va'achalta. Yeah, it's to eat.
Yeah, it means to devour.
Yeah, doesn't make so much sense to me, but okay. Anyway, the context is that you defeat them.
Right.
Ki somar vil vavacha rabim ha goyim ha'ela mimeni echa uchal lehorisham. Okay, so ki, my English says perhaps you will say in your heart, these nations are numerous, more numerous than me. How will I be able to drive them out? Yeah, see, that's a good word. Lahorishtam, to drive them out.
Well, I mentioned this already previously when we discussed this. I can't remember what it was, Parsha's Matos or Masay. There were basically three stages. First of all, they offered anybody who wanted to leave before they crossed over the Jordan. They offered the nations, the nations living in Eretz Canaan. They offered them, says, "You're invited to leave because we're coming and we're going to clear out the land. So if you want to leave now, gesundheit." Alternatively, if you want to join the Jewish people, you want to convert. It's also an option. Okay. Then the second stage was when they actually crossed over the land and thing. So they were again invited to leave before the Jewish people were going to wipe out everybody who's remained. And the third stage was actually they wiped out everybody who remained. So it wasn't exactly, they didn't give them a choice. We were talking about the people there who insisted on putting up a fight and not surrendering to the Jewish people.
So the first two phases were the same, except that one was when we were outside and one when we were inside. Other than that, it was the same.
Yeah, the same. Technically, the same three choices were given. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Should I read the Rashi?
Yes, please.
Ki.
Important Rashi. I mean, very important grammatical point Rashi's making.
Ki somar bilavavcha. Maybe you will say in your heart, al karchecha lashon. What?
Means al kochacha.
Al karchecha lashon dilma who. Al karchecha means you are forced to say.
No, al kochacha, you are forced to say loshen dilmo. Okay? That this terminology means
It's an expression of maybe.
right, as opposed to if.
But where's it getting al karchecha from?
It means Rashi saying this phrase, per force, you must explain the phrase as follows.
What phrase?
Key, the word key. Rashi saying the word key over here, Rashi saying doesn't mean if.
Right.
It means maybe.
Right.
So why Rashi is pointing out as follows, because if you translate it as if, it sounds like if you ask, if you say, these nations are too many for me, how am I going to drive them out? You know what? Don't worry, I'm going to drive them out. And if you don't say, then you're not going to be able to drive them out. That doesn't make sense. So that's why Rashi says, word key doesn't mean if. It's not conditional. It means, were you to say, maybe you will say, these nations are too many for me. So that's also saying, Kosh Baruch is saying, don't worry, right? But certainly, if they don't say it, there's also this situation will be true as well. Otherwise, the situation is not conditional on saying these nations are too many for me. How am I able to drive them out? It's not conditional on that. It means maybe you will say. It doesn't mean if you will say. That's what Rashi was. That's what Rashi is pointing out. It doesn't mean if. He doesn't mean over here if you say, as it does. Kisaboy or kisaboy is not a good thing. Kiyake ish Esrei. If a man smites his fellow man, there doesn't mean, and maybe a man will fail to smite his fellow man, right? Were it to be, or when a man smites his fellow man, which implies that for sure that's going to happen, and just this is the law when it happens. No, that means if a man smites his fellow man, okay, then the din is as follows. Okay, so there key can mean if, it's conditional. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, and it's not something which, in other words, it's not definitely going to happen, and it's not more than likely, something which is also certain to happen, but it's at some particular stage. It means if, we obviously would be preferable if it would not happen. But if it does happen, then that's condition, that's key, can also mean the meaning of key. So Rashi is pointing out, no, the meaning of key over here doesn't mean conditional, meaning if it happens, if you say, then I'm going to drive them out. No. Were you to say, maybe you will say this, how am I going to be able to conquer? So when you say, maybe you will say that, so I'm saying, don't worry, don't worry about it. Okay?
Okay. So Shema Tomar Bilavavcha. Perhaps you will say in your heart, Mipnei Shehem Rabim, because they are numerous. Lo Uchal Leho Risham. I will not be able to drive them out. Al Tomar Kach, do not say this. Lo Sira Mehem, do not fear them. Velo Yitachen Lifar Sho, and is not possible to explain be'achar mishar lishonos shel ki with one of the other meanings of the word ki sheyipul alav shuv lo sira mehem.
Means you can't use any of the other expressions of ki, which would apply any of the other meanings of ki.
That doesn't seem right to me. I mean, if you translate it as if you say in your heart that these nations are too numerous, don't fear them.
And if you know, so that means if you don't say it, what's going to be?
Obviously, you're not going to fear them if you don't say it because you're not afraid of them.
And therefore, so what's going to happen?
Therefore, it's saying if you find yourself feeling afraid, don't be afraid. If you don't find yourself being afraid, also don't be afraid.
Okay. So therefore, it's such a meaning. It's not if. Is maybe you're going to feel afraid. So I'm going to placate you. Understand?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, I think our time is up.
Yeah. I think so. So we got up to Pasuk Yud Ches. Pasuk Yud Ches. Very good.
Thank
Okay.
you, Rabbi.
Have a great day. Colter, be well.
You too. Bye-bye.